bump draft through the first corner. That's the problem when you get bump drafting in a situation like that through a corner. You can turn these cars around with almost your little finger because they're just on the ragged edge of adhesion. Now down the back straight. Now we'll see how effective this slipstream is proving to be. You can see Subaru and Mazda working together here, bumping one another as we come down this back straight. Is anybody going to pull out of the slipstream, go for a higher line in towards this left-hander? No opportunity moving there for Toyota. They go towards the sort of middle line of it, but you can see them moving around constantly at this point of the corner.
Yeah, it's hard than it looks, and this is where the drivers can very easily tense up and just make those little mistakes. But it's very, very important to try and stay in your line and keep things consistent. The moment you duck out, you have to hope someone goes with you, otherwise you're left there. And there goes Team Ferrari using the side draft. And do they have help there on the outside? We can't see it at the moment. They do have hope. Team BMW, they're going to the high side, trying to push and maybe form that second lane. Yeah, we were saying this about there being chaos at our last race, but a reminder now of our starting order for our second go here at Daytona.
Yep, so here is how the grid is going to line up for part two then of the first race of the weekend then for the Manufacturers' Cup. Mazda and Cardinal on pole position. Subaru and Danny Solis head the second position of the grid. Then the second row is headed by Sato in P3. Toyota with Kai de Bruyn in fourth place. Then Lexus and Harold Valson line up on P5. They have got Lamborghini's Yusuke Gossa. He was right at the back of the field, if you remember, the first running of this one, so opportunity knocks for them. Ferrari down in 7th place. Honda are in 8th position with Trent Jeffrey alongside them. BMW Randall Hayward in 9th position. The top 10 completed by Mercedes-AMG and Sasaki. Then you have got McLaren with Yamamoto. Let's see what progress they can make. Nissan down there, though, in 12th. Filo with a lot of work to do, considering that they were originally starting in 4th place. It has not gone well so far for Nissan. They were involved in that big crash that we saw, which brought out the red flag ultimately. So now down to 6 laps of action then, and let's see how this one is going to work out. Originally it was a 10-lap race distance, now down to 6, so slightly reduced race distance. I'm sure opportunity knocks for some of the teams and some of the drivers, but it is going to be very interesting to see how this one is going to work out. And also for Subaru there, they can thank their lucky stars really, because it did not work out at all.
No, I mean, like I said, getting sort of shunted to the back of the pack there is not ideal. But another go here now as we roll around, rolling start, as we come to the start-finish line. 6 laps at the Daytona Oval Circuit. High speeds, high risks here in the first race of the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup. Will Team Mazda lead from the get-go? Will Team Subaru manage to not spin around this time? Let's find out.
Absolutely. There we go then. The restart is about to get underway for the first race of the Manufacturers' Cup for the 2025 GT World Finals. Mazda across the line first, with Subaru and Porsche slotting in behind in 2nd and 3rd place then, respectively. We come through and in towards the first turn. Now, we saw a lot of drivers go for the low line through the first time. They're already starting to bump draft through the first corner, and that's the problem when you get bump drafting in a situation like that through a corner. You can turn these cars around with almost your little finger because they're just on the ragged edge of adhesion. Now down the back straight. Now we'll see how effective this slipstream is proven to be. You can see Subaru and Mazda working together here, bumping one another as we come down this back straight. Is anybody going to pull out of the slipstream, go for a higher line in towards this left-hander? No opportunity moving there for Toyota. They go towards the sort of middle line of it, but you can see them moving around constantly at this point of the corner.
Yeah, it's hard than it looks, and this is where the drivers can very easily tense up and just make those little mistakes. But it's very, very important to try and stay in your line and keep things consistent. The moment you duck out, you have to hope someone goes with you, otherwise you're left there. And there goes Team Ferrari using the side draft. And do they have help there on the outside? We can't see it at the moment. They do have hope. Team BMW, they're going to the high side, trying to push and maybe form that second lane. They've got no other choice, BMW. There's no other way they're going to get through otherwise.
So points to the top 6, just to remind you, in this race. And in terms of the points as well, you get 6 points for the victory, all the way down to 1 point for 6th position. Now Ferrari, they go for that higher line on the outside. They've got Lamborghini on the low side then here as we come down this back straight over the timing line. And let's see how it's going to work out then. So we begin lap 3. Mazda it is that leads. Subaru are in second place. Then you've got Porsche in third position, followed by Toyota, followed by Lexus. Over in towards the first turn we go. You can see bumping and barging in the sort of mid to latter pack as they sneak their way through. We're not seeing anyone going 2 by 2 through these first couple of corners. Down this back straight we go, though. Are we going to see positions beginning to change hands? There's not a lot of time now, of course. Original race distance 10 laps, now down to 6 laps, and we're already at the halfway stage as we're on lap 3 here. At the moment, it's still Mazda, Subaru and Porsche who lead from the front.
Yeah, I mean, you have to start doing something different now and thinking about it again. All I've seen really is the team Ferrari, and then Lamborghini, they've touched Ferrari. They just went under the bottom line there. Car spins around, Ferrari out as well, no fault of their own, and then there were 10. So Ferrari, who were trying to invent something around the outside, in the end just got collected in something that was not their fault. But now Jeffrey has another big one. Boys, sort it out, come on.
Not good at all there for Trent Jeffrey. He's going to be bitterly disappointed for that, as will the entire Honda team. We're 2 by 2 in the background. Now we're starting to see the action taking place. But is it enough for Mazda and Subaru? Have they broken away into a lead? Not really, because it closes up at the end of the back straight. So we come through in towards the final turn on this Daytona Oval. Now we're going to start to see Subaru beginning to pull some punches. The problem with that Subaru is it's very quick in technical corners, on technical circuits. In a straight line, not necessarily so. So they have to sit in the slipstream here at this point and hope for a bump drop there for Porsche. Across the line we go. Penultimate lap now begins. It's still Mazda that leads, Subaru in second, Porsche in third, points down to 6 once again. Just to remind you, at the moment it's Nissan who'll be the final point scorers.
Is anyone going to take a risk here? I mean, we've seen what's happened to Ferrari, Lamborghini and Honda. You take a risk, you get shunted. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. They're all one a turn right now. Mazda in the fortuitous position of leading that pack, but you have to think you're all just waiting. It doesn't matter where you are here, it matters where you are crossing the line and in the next lap. Right now, Mazda will be the victors, but I've got a feeling it's going to get a little bit more spicy before we get into this race.
Yeah, you get the sense that this is going to start to bubble up. What a disappointment, though, for Lamborghini and for Ferrari, especially for Ferrari with that brand new 296 car that they are competing with here this weekend. Let's hope that their second and third races, respectively, go quite well. We begin the final lap of action, though, at the Daytona Tri-Oval. So, Mazda from Subaru, from Porsche, as we come down in towards the first turn for the final time. Don't think anybody's going to think about a higher line through there, but they're certainly bumping one another going through and all sticking to quite a low line. But look at Porsche, they're coming to pressure from Toyota. I wonder if the door is starting to open for Toyota there, and whether they're going to try and pick their pocket for that final podium place to pick up more points. Down the back straight we go for one final time.
Someone's got to try something.
Let's enter that one. Good job, though, from the eventuals of Mazda and from Samuel Cardinal, the driver of that car, because he didn't accept So then, over to the second race of the Manufacturers' Cup, Autopolis in the wet. And Mazda took first blood a few moments ago in the first race of the weekend. Can they convert that into a second win and extend the lead in the points championship? Well, it's Paul Ura who will drive for them in this second race. Takuma Miyazono will be with Subaru on the front row of the grid. Then you've got Jose Serrano for Porsche in P3. Morimoto for Toyota lines up in fourth position ahead of Lexus and Kanase Kawakami in P5. Of course, former double champions. Then Nissan, also former Manufacturers' Cup champions, lining up P6. Arthur Mosso is seventh on the grid, and BMW with Thomas Laboutelet lining up in P8. Mercedes-AMG and Lucas Bonelli lining up in ninth position, and P10 is Honda with Tsuji Miura. 11th place Lamborghini and Alifa in that final row of the grid, with João Jesus for Ferrari. A lot of work for both Lamborghini and Ferrari to do, and not a lot of time to do it in here, Jimmy, because it's only a 5-lapper.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tricky for the guys here, because they're going to have to try and experiment with grip levels with something they've not had the chance to do so yet. I mean, Autopolis, tricky circuit, the best of times. Add into the fact now that you're in wet conditions, a spray from the car in front of you lower down the field. I mean, Paul Ura's in pole position in two ways, really. One, he's literally there, and two, he hasn't got that spray to deal with, so he gets a much easier job going down to T1 for the first time. But interesting to see which cars and which teams really make the most of these conditions.
Well, just a reminder, points, of course, awarded down to 10th place in this race. 12 points on offer for the victor, 10 points for second, 8 points down to third, and then, of course, as we know, points all the way down to P10, and double points for the grand final. In terms of double points, a little bit more than that, actually, because it's 24 points in total for the victory. But more on that a little bit later. Let's get ready, though, to go for race 2 of the Manufacturers' Cup here in Fukuoka. It's time to go racing at the Autopolis Raceway, with Mazda across the line first, from Subaru, from Porsche, as we come in towards that first corner in the heavy wet conditions. So wet tyres available for the drivers. No need to worry about any pit stops in this race. It's not really going to be set to dry out, but who's going to be able to master these conditions in the wet? So Subaru there in second position, with Porsche, who are in P3. And are we going to see Porsche getting an early advantage here on Subaru? Well, it certainly looks like it. They're going for the outside line here, and they're going to go sweeping around the outside. Are they going to make that move stick? Absolutely brilliant there for Porsche and for Sato, getting the better of Subaru, and for Takuma Miyazono, who drops himself down into third place, as we see Nissan versus Toyota for fourth place in the background as well.
Yeah, Nissan, they're chucking the car in and knocking Toyota out of the way, so I'm not sure the stewards are going to enjoy that one, but a robust move there from the fourth place team. Currently on board with Takuma Miyazono, looking at the back of the Porsche, went round the outside of him there. It just goes to show that different lines work in these wet conditions. Driving on the rubbered up dry line is a good way to slide wide, so you've got to try and avoid that, as Team Toyota making their way back by Nissan. McLaren in the background too, trying to wind their way through, as Nissan scrambles the traction and corner exit here. Treacherous conditions for these drivers, and that spray as well really makes things difficult.
Yeah, it certainly does, coming down to the bottom of the circuit. Look at the advantage that Mazda have already built up, about half a second or so. Doesn't sound like a particularly huge amount, but it is quite significant, especially at this early stage of the race. Looking here at Morimoto then in the Toyota. Nissan very close behind Hiroshi Okamoto, the two Japanese drivers in the two Japanese manufactured cars, in fourth and fifth place there, respectively. Can they make an impact here on this race? Through the left-hander and then through this long, lazy right-hander, which completes the lap. And you can see the difference in lines there. Nissan trying to go for the inside line. Is it going to work on Toyota? Well, they've got track position. It's just going to sort of converge as they come through the left-hander. They're going to shuffle to the curb on the outside, and Toyota might be able to pick the advantage back between them. They bang against one another as we come down the start-finish straight, but Toyota then into fourth. Nissan still sit there in P5.
Yeah, all this squabbling just lets the top three get away though. Nissan big control next, because they've turned Toyota off into the corner pocket. Goes Team Toyota into the gravel trap and down to last place. What a shame, because these guys were looking good in the standings. That's going to be huge for them there. You can see the teammates not happy about that whatsoever. Can't really blame them there. For sure, I'm happy for Team Nissan.
No doubt about it. Stewards are going to be looking into that one, but Morimoto will be bitterly disappointed with that, as will the whole Team Toyota outfit. And, well, Nissan, as you say, I imagine that Okamoto is going to be facing some kind of sanction for that incident. Meanwhile, Mazda it is that lead the way. Let's have another look at it. So you can see here, Toyota in fourth place, Nissan going for that lunge on the inside. The gap is there, but unfortunately, it sort of two doesn't go into one. And, well, you see what happens. Toyota straight to the scene of the accident.
Yeah, the gap was there until it wasn't. And I think that was Karatsa driving the car there So he ain't going to be happy with that one. But back at the front of the field, Paul Ura doing a good job fending off the attacks of the team Porsche there. Who's at the wheel of that one, Tom? Serrano's at the wheel of that right now. We know how fast Serrano is. Sorry, it's
Serrano is at the wheel of that one, beg your pardon.
Yeah, there he is. No, it definitely is Serrano. But we know how quick he is. Very strong team for Team Porsche. You know, Angel coming in and saying we've got a chance here. They really do. If they keep up these performances, getting by Team Mazda here will help that happen, because right now they're looking very, very quick.
Well, at the moment they're even on points, let's not forget. Both on 22 points. Look at the sliding there for Serrano. He's just trying to find the limits of grip, isn't he? He's just exploring a little bit beyond that. But they're tied on points. So whoever finishes ahead in this race is going to gain a bit more of an advantage than the other. So there's plenty of opportunity and a good incentive there as well. More points on offer here in these World Finals. You can hear the rain battering against the windscreen as they come down the start-finish straight. So lap 3 out of 5 we are on. We come across the timing line then here, and sort of the three outliers at the moment, Mazda, Porsche and Subaru, they've got a 2-second advantage now over Nissan, who sit there in 4th position.
So we just, that's down in part to the contact earlier on, but the Porsche are looking very aggressive, looking to make a move maybe on Team Mazda. He likes the outside move here, does Serrano. Will he get it on Paul Ura? He does. Round the outside goes Jose Serrano for Team Porsche, passing his teammate, his Spanish teammate there, Paul Ura in the Mazda. Man, these guys really are going at it, aren't they? And in the back there, Takuma Miyazono trying to follow his way through. These top 3 cars give us a hell of a show.
This circuit really does suit the Subaru there in 3rd place as well. So let's keep an eye out and see what Miyazono is going to be able to do as they make their way through. And now the circuit begins to open up a little bit in this sort of mid-section of it. We flick through this right-hander, and this is a bit of an Achilles heel for Subaru. It's a very good car in techniques of the track. On the longer straight, not so good because it didn't have the same straight line speed. This is Lexus versus Lamborghini down to the first corner. Mercedes and BMW, and Lamborghini just come careering into the side of them. So Lamborghini really suffering some misfortune in this race, and Gotto, the aggressor in that one, unfortunately, I think there's going to be more penalties coming their way.
There's a lot of this going on. It's really hard to pick your braking zone down there. Unfortunately, if you're on the outside ahead of them, you kind of act as the brake, and of course that'll be looked into by our stewards as well. On board now with Miyazono in the Subaru, really working of this Subaru BRZ. Over 2 seconds to put them down to about where AMG is. Now here's where we see the weakness of this Subaru. Runs out of puff on the straights, but very light, very agile. In that draft, actually, wasn't falling back too much.
No, okay, the slipstream at the moment. Let's see whether Miyazono can use that to his advantage coming down towards the first corner. Mercedes and BMW under investigation there as well. Still nothing on Nissan and the contact that we saw in towards that first corner as to whether they're going to be picking up a penalty for their part in the incident. BMW look like they're out of this one, though, as Laboutelet has not come across the line in a fair amount of time. We come through this left-hander there. We're now on the penultimate lap of racing here. This is a favourite overtaking spot that we've seen over the course of this one, and now are we going to start to see Miyazono coming through. There is BMW, there is Laboutelet, who clearly looks to be suffering from what appears to be some kind of a technical problem, being stranded on the side of the circuit. But I have to say, Jimmy, the rain intensity looks to have decreased somewhat in the sort of latter stages of this race. I don't think the circuit's going to dry up significantly, but it's definitely a bit less heavier in terms of the rainfall than it was a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, I should say, Tom, I think it's not really going to dry so much towards the end of the race. There is really a straight fight between these guys. You can see going into this hairpin there, the lock that Paul Ura in that Mazda on, just crossing the wheel over, trying to get some grip out of those front tyres, but just scrubbing across. And it's been a great race from Jose Serrano and that Porsche, really showing what that car can do in these conditions, and flirting with danger, touching those curves in the wet, always a little bit scary. But not for these guys, proper pros here, as we watch Miyazono again. This is where this car is strong, this Subaru. Really quick for these last couple of corners, but what can he do about it?
Yeah, that is the question. Lamborghini and Ferrari exchanging positions there. Mercedes picking up a penalty for their parts in the collision, presumably with BMW. On board we ride, though, with Takuma Miyazono. We come through the left-hander in towards the final 2 corners of this circuit to begin the last lap of racing. And Porsche and Serrano now just beginning to build a little bit of a cushion, actually, over Mazda and Subaru. And I wonder if that might just be enough for them to not come under any real threat on this final lap, which we now begin with Porsche leading from Mazda, from Subaru. That's your top 3.
Yeah, a little wiggle there from Miyazono, so that's really going to hurt him going on to this lap. So Last lap of the second race here at Fukuoka. Team Porsche leading by 6 tenths from Team Mazda. Subaru in third place. We're on board now at mid-zone. Can he invent something here? Anything that he can do? He's a bit far back, I think, to have any sort of lunge here. And it's got a big straight to contend with. We know this car doesn't really do too well with. But he's really fast, mid-zone. He can really make this thing work if he can just find the line. Paul Ura also trying to get back onto the rear spoiler of the Porsche. But we have to say that Serrano's just looks in a league of his own here.
Yeah, first sector, Euro was actually a little bit quicker by a few tenths of a second over Serrano. So if he can continue building that advantage into the final sector of this one and continue that same sort of trajectory, there's a good opportunity for a possible lunge in the final few stages of this one. So Mazda and Subaru were tied on points at the start of this race. If the checker flag finishes as it is now, it'll be Mazda with a 2-point advantage going into the penultimate race of the season in the Manufacturers' Cup, with Porsche there in third position, but very close indeed, with just 3 points separating those three teams.
Yeah, so bring Porsche right back into it. And you know what Galen Stroza was saying at the start of this, like, I fancy this. I reckon we can do this, Team Porsche. We can be champions. If we can just get a good couple of races, this will be ideal for them. Only a few more corners separate Porsche and Jose Serrano from a win here in race 2.
Euro again a tenth of a second faster, gap down to just under half a second now, so it just takes that one mistake from Jose Serrano at the sharp end of this one. One slip of the tyres, one slide into the corners under braking, and that could present the opportunity that Paul Ura and Mazda are looking for a dive. We come through into that final turn though, and unless we see a mistake from Jose Serrano, it is going to be Porsche that will come through to take the checkered flag. Out of the final corner we go, and across the line, Porsche win race 2 from Mazda and from Subaru. Serrano takes victory from his compatriot Paul Ura. Miyazono on the podium there in third position, which means that we've now got 3 manufacturers separated by just 3 points at the sharp end of this one, with 2 races to go at the checkered flag. Ferrari versus Lamborghini to the line there as well was very close for 7th place. João Jesus just getting the better of Lamborghini's Alfa Lea. But what a race from Paul Ura and from Jose Serrano. Ultimately, a very calm and controlled race from Serrano. Once he got his way through around the outside for the race lead, he just never looked like he was bothered again.
But how close was that? Less than 2 tenths at the end there. So definitely chased home was Jose Serrano by his compatriot Paul Ura. But you're seeing now why we've had such Spanish domination this year. These guys just incredibly fast. And for Team Porsche, that's huge. That really puts them properly in contention now. We've got 3 teams starting to pull away from the rest. Mazda, Subaru and Porsche, with only 2 more races left this year.
Yep, so 32 points now for Mazda, 30 points for Subaru and 29 points for Porsche. They're your sort of outliers, really. Of course, another opportunity for 12 points on offer in this third race. And then we go up to double points for that for the grand final as well. So let's see how that one is going to work out. Well, time for reflection after that second race. Wet conditions at the Autopolis Raceway. Manufacturers' Cup then here for the Gran Turismo World Finals, and here is how the grid lines up. Top 3 places occupied by the top 3 teams in the standings. Porsche with the most to gain in this one. They line up in pole position, an opportunity for them to score 12 points. Angel Stroza heading their charge. Mazda in second place. Ryoto Kokubun is behind the wheel for that team with Subaru and Kilian Drumont in third place. Fourth position, Mikołaj Sejak in the Nissan. Could he be the disruptor here today with McLaren's Jay Murphy in fifth position? Lexus and Giorgio Mangano lining up P6 on the grid, and then Ferrari's Jun Hoshima is in 7th place. Alongside them is Lamborghini, and for Simon Rosenberger, and you've got Honda's Valerio Gallo. 10th place, Mercedes-AMG and Noah Lanuza, the Frenchman. He was unlucky in LA, if you remember, ended up on the deck at one point. Adriano Carrazza lines up P11, and BMW Seiya Suzuki is in 12th position on the grid. So medium tyres then, 7 laps here at this Sardinia circuit. Jimmy, how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I foresee some sort of move down at T1. It's a long drive down to them. We do have a rolling start, which does tend to spread the field out a little bit, but I think it's long enough that you can slipstream action is going to start coming into play, and someone like Kokoba maybe might have a fancier move from T1. I mean, like, to be honest, between the top three, they kind of need to keep it clean. That's what they're thinking now, because any mistake here puts them on the back foot for that grand final. Yeah, no doubt about it. You've got to really minimise the mistakes, especially at this critical juncture. As you get later on, of course, into the evening's worth of races, there's fewer opportunities to right any of the wrong. So one mistake here could be absolutely critical. You guarantee these teams, these drivers, they're going to be leaving nothing on the table here tonight as the crowd awaits. Sold out crowd here in Fukuoka this weekend. And they'll be keen to see what is going to happen and who, of course, is going to claim the crown of the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's get ready to go racing. Race 3, then, is underway here at the Manufacturers' Cup at the Sardinia Road Circuit. Porsche leading Mazda, leading Subaru as they come down in towards the first corner. Don't think we'll see any dive bombs down in towards turn 1, but we will see a pull out of the slipstream there for Mazda as well as Subaru coming under pressure as well. No moves being made in towards that first turn as expected, but around the sort of second part of this opening lap, we should start to see drivers who are getting their elbows out as they start getting some heat into the tyres and the brakes, crucially. Yeah, so right now, Porsche lead from Mazda, lead from Subaru, lead from Nissan behind. Sajak behind the wheel of that Nissan. We said he's one to watch, so we'll see what he can do during this race. And again, this track's a lot of heavy acceleration zones. That Subaru's going to suffer a little bit here, I think, as they defend there from Mazda defend from Team Subaru. Right now, not much change as everyone's keeping it nice and clean on lap 1 there. A stark contrast to our first race at Daytona. On board now with that GTR and Sajak. Yeah, Sejak knows a thing or two about how to play these races calm and cool. You can see Mazda there just putting some pressure on Porsche at the sharp end of this one, coming down towards the left-hander. In the mirror there, you can see also Lexus as well. Behind the wheel of that is Giorgio Mangano at the moment. Of course, Lexus former champions as well in the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's see whether they can spring a few surprises with McLaren very close in tow. Through the sweeping left and right-hander before we come in towards the next big braking zone on this first lap into this left-hander. Lamborghini and Mercedes under investigation for a collision then on this opening lap. Let's see whether they've been deemed to be the aggressor or the innocent party. Yeah, Gallo there making the move on the Ferrari drive up to P7. Goes Valerio Gallo, past champion, Nations Cup champion. Honda not looking so strong though this time out, but I'm sure looking to try and make as best as he can of the situation. Meanwhile, we're with Nissan and Sajak going down towards T1. Big overspeed on the Subaru as it goes defensive. Dumont there keeping the car just on the line. Very nice defensive driving there, but you can get the impression that Sajak they can smell blood in the water. Yeah, certainly can. Mercedes with a 1 second penalty then for their part in the collision with Lamborghini on that opening lap. So let's work out and pick the bones out of that one as we continue on in this race. We come through the left and the right hander. This is Mikołaj Sajak, who we ride on board with the Polish driver, who, despite being Polish in terms of nationality, actually has a very sort of thick northern accent, which catches you off guard a little bit. And I was down chatting to him in the World Series events over the course of this year. He's a young lad, bright head on his shoulders and mature head on his shoulders, especially when it comes to racecraft as well. So let's see whether we can get that Nissan up into the podium positions and be the disruptor in this race. We come through in towards the left-hander. I have to say, they're keeping it remarkably calm and tidy. Jimmy, as we get into this point now of the evening where we're race 3, we're the last chance before we go in towards the double points, are we going to see the teams at the front maybe minimising the risks a bit more? Yeah, you think so, but that of course opens them up to people behind them. I mean, a great example right now is Valerio Gallo moving through the field up to P6 now. He's already on the back of the McLaren in front, so this guy is not hanging around. And as you see now, Sajak is all over the back of a Subaru. Subaru really fast. There's a Mazda mistake there from Mazda and Kokeman. And now that has just given the cars behind an easy run down towards T1 and Porsche with Stroza at the wheel. A bit of breathing room. So here we go. Then down towards T1. We're on board with Sajak. Looking at the back of that BRZ there. Struggling in the straight line. It's now the time we'll see the Polish driver strike. Looks at the outside line. Not quite close enough to anything there. But, these guys really getting bunched up now. You were saying they're taking it easy, so I'm not sure they are. The defensive line there for Stroza. I think he got a poor run off the final corner, which compromised him down into turn 1. The problem is, though, what he did was it bottlenecked up. It sort of concertinaed up through that first turn. And you can see how close they are now running nose to tail. I mean, it was close going into there, but it's certainly closer now as we come in through this first sector. Stroza actually a great one. That Mazda's just an absolute bullet in a straight line. Meanwhile, a bit further down the field. So here is a replay.
Oh, this is what happened with Mercedes and Lamborghini on the opening lap.
That's a great move.
Yeah, if you forget whether the brake pedal is brilliant.
Which he did, unfortunately. So yeah, I can understand the penalty there. But Illustros's got a weird dynamic here where he's really quick in mid-corner with his Porsche, but it seems to, up against that Mazda, which again, a bit of a bullet. It's not, sorry, just in the background there, Subaru having to defend, and then in its place goes up the inside of the Mazda. The Mazda caught napping, so Subaru and Drumont there just absolutely picking the pocket of Koki, but down 2 places. Sejak also up a place, up into P3, and now they're side by side as Gallo tries to get involved as well.
Yeah, this is now all starting to kick off, isn't it? We're sort of getting towards the mid-stages of this race, and all the while they start squabbling, that is music to the ears of Angel Illustroza. He's leading the race. Half a second is the advantage. If they continue battling like this, it will give them a chance to break away.
So this is ideal, really, because the Subaru is not fast down the straight, so it's now going to be the cork in the bottle for the cars behind. So that, as you say, sort of gives Illustroza a little bit of breathing room on board for the Mazda. Now, look at the speed of this thing down the straight in the draft this hand. They're both going to try and get by the Subaru. Are they going to go 3 wide? Not quite. They're thinking about it. This and there, Sejak just about being held off by the Subaru. Yeah, oh, the cutback. Sejak up into P2. Lovely stuff. And will the Mazda follow through too?
Trying to do on the inside then, and keep an eye out for Honda with Valerio Gallo, who is behind the wheel as well. We come through into the left-hander, Honda versus Subaru. Oh, Sejak's off into the gravel. Was there a bit of contact there as they came through in towards the left-hander? The upshot is the Polish driver goes tumbling down the order. He was in 2nd place. He's now down to 7th place. And look at what it's done for Porsche and for Angel Illustroza. He's now got a 1.6-second advantage as they all start squabbling amongst one another, and a 1-second penalty there for Toyota as well.
Valerio Gallo in that Honda started this race in 9th position. He's up to P2. A great drive there from the 2020 Nations Cup champion. Amazing run by, no, sorry, 2021. Nearly got it right. That was near.
Long time ago. Oh, hang on a minute. Look at Subaru on the inside. They lunge through on 2 cars, getting the better of Mazda, and then also getting the better of Honda as they now run side by side with one another through this left-hander. That was absolutely sensational for Team Subaru. A big lunge, and it's paid off beautifully. Now Lexus are ready to try and pick the pocket of another car. They get through on Mazda for 4th.
What do you say at the start of this race, Tom? They're going to take it easy? I don't think so. In the background, Toyota almost 3 wide there with McLaren and Mazda. Mazda plummeting down the order. This is horrible for their championship at the moment. So Porsche and Angel Illustroza is just laughing all the way to the back. 2.4 seconds now is the gap as Subaru and Honda battle out still. There through goes Valerio Gallo. Not much really Drumont can do about that, can he? But here's the question. Are they going to keep squabbling, or does Gallo have the pace to catch that Porsche in front?
Well, the problem here for Drumont is obviously he was the cork in the bottle. So now that Valerio Gallo's gone through, you would imagine that unless he's able to keep the pace with the Honda and live with it in a straight line, he's going to start dropping back. That might pop him into the clutches of Lexus, it might pop into the clutches of McLaren. It could be even worse here for Kylian Drumont, but you can see what it means, though, for Porsche at the moment. If the checker flag fell now, it would be a dream start to the grand final with a 3-point advantage over Subaru and even more over the Mazda team as well, who've dropped down into 6th place.
Maybe you've got to just manifest it. Maybe that's the trick. Angel say, you know what, we're going to win this. There it is.
Yeah, I went for a walk with him yesterday. He was so calm, so focused, and so ready to go out and win. He said, no, we're leaving nothing on the table. We are here to win, and that is exactly what we're going to do. He was a man that was absolutely unwavering in the confidence that was underneath him, and that is proving to be absolutely justified here tonight.
Yeah, so right now, Gallo is he's come very slowly catching Illustroza, not by a lot. Only a couple of laps left in this race here at Sardinia, so really interesting back on this circuit. I got to admit, I thought we'd have a bit of a quiet one here, but it's been anything but that so far. Fast lap of the race, the BMW and Seiya Suzuki down in P7, so he's quick, but he needs to go a bit quicker than that, I think.
Yeah, the problem is their championship challenge has really fallen apart like a cheap watch, courtesy of one race, isn't it? Really, you know.
Why do you look at me when you say that?
I can see what you've got on your wrist. Across the timeline we go. McLaren versus Lexus, side by side with one another as we come down the start-finish straight in towards the left-hander as we go over the crest of the hill. Lexus on the inside, McLaren on the outside then. So Mangano versus Murphy in the Lexus versus the McLaren. Mazda and Cockerman ready to try and pick their pocket as well. That'll be damage limitation there for Cockerman as they try to ascend their way back up the order following the early dramas that they have suffered. As they flick it through in towards Amanda, it all stays pretty stagnant in terms of the positions for now. Let's have a look at this battle then with Mazda. So this is a lunge to the inside. And I don't know if there was contact there. It just looked like Sejak outbraked himself from that angle, at least, certainly.
I think they both did. Like, there wasn't any clear moving of the car there, but I'm sure Sejak will have his own opinions on what happened there as well. But we really, I mean, for Mazda and team and Cockerman, he really needs to invent something now because he's down in 6th place. He needs better points than this. Lexus and McLaren side by side still. That McLaren's getting put on the grass. Yep, why'd you go? And then it comes back on and hits the Mazda there. Cockerman into the barrier goes Team McLaren. I mean, there's a saying in karting which is outside of suicide, and he tried it there and he got shown the door, didn't he?
Yeah, not ideal at all there for the team, and good for Mazda. At least they're able to take profit of that position. We go through into the left-hander. That's where the penalty zone is, by the way. So if you do see the drivers picking up the penalties, that's where they will serve them. So here are the point standings. You can see there Porsche would be leading the way by 3 points. There would be a tie for second position between Subaru and Mazda if the checker flag fell now. Still a fair gap to Nissan behind there as well. We now begin the last lap of action, though, and what a dream drive this has proven to be for Angel Inestrosa so far in this race. Again, he's just looked calm, controlled and comfortable, as have the entire team here tonight. They've just been absolutely unfathomable.
They have really, really good performance so far from this man, Angel Inestrosa, in that Porsche. Just, he had a bit of luck go his way, we must say, but he's driven very well at the front. Only about half a lap or so before Porsche claimed their second win of the evening here. And it's all going their way. I mean, here is Valerio Gallo. What a drive from Gallo. Probably one of the drives of this show so far. Up 7 places defending from Dumont in that Subaru. And I think Team Mazda picking up the bits, P5 for them. There is Inestrosa, of course, double points for our grand final. So whilst this will put Porsche in the lead going into the final, still all to play for.
Well, Mazda, their race is it's good damage limitation for them in 5th position. If they can get another place on